Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely all join. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Flatzoid, 10th Man, Paul, Chocolate Sane, The One, and then we've got a whole bunch of people on Discord. So I'll just say hello to the Google Plus people first. How are you doing, one and all?
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Yep, hello.
Hello. We're also joined by Brenda, Fundy Zealot. Let's just take you off mute. Ping Pong Rob, Red, and Righteous Force. Very good to have you all as well.
Any signs of Earth curvature?
Nope,
Out in South Africa.
not in Bulgaria.
Not on Earth.
Got the last word there.
Any scientific evidence for gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Nope,
Gravity, what's that?
no idea.
Non-force.
If you define it as relative density, it's all over the place.
Agreed.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Can't be measured yet.
No apparent distance.
Got a new guest. Hey Todd, how you doing? Can you hear us? Hello, Todd. Sheesh. Any evidence of the R value?
No.
No, sorry. Any evidence of you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container?
Nope.
No.
No.
Nah, you can't have something without its antecedent. That doesn't make any sense.
About you,
But
Fundy
people
Zealot?
think they do.
You got anything for us, Fundy Zealot?
No, nothing at all.
Brenda, that's you.
So, hello?
Hello.
So we were
Any
talking
evidence
before
of,
about the
self-
one more time attempt, the circumnavigation of the poles of the Earth.
Yeah, let us know when they do it.
No, we have gas pressure.
A couple more
So
questions.
they are. I don't know if they've completed it yet, but that is something that they're doing. There's a flight circumnavigating the poles. It's not the first one.
Well, it would be.
How do you count for that?
I told you in the pre-show. In the pre-show, I explained that whenever I'd looked into polar circumnavigation, they did not circumnavigate. They went in and then came back out again.
That's true. I've seen that too when I did a little research.
Anyway.
What's interesting?
And they keep losing signal.
What's interesting is they claim to have gone to the moon before they've gone across the poles.
let's just dispense with the rest of the housekeeping questions. So, any evidence of axial rotation?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Your religious creed needs to go first. Yes.
Yeah,
No, sorry.
they're questions, Brenda. They're not statements. It's not like we're saying there's a
No,
sky vacuum. We're asking for evidence that defies a natural law. That's not really any sort of worship or anything of that nature. It's a question.
No
No,
access.
these are your creedal. These are your creedal statements.
They're
Yes,
questions. Questions, Brenda.
Questions, mate.
which only have
Okay.
one answer for you. So yeah.
You can bring it up.
Well, no, I don't want to. I don't want to derail your
You
service. Your
You
service.
don't want
you
to get
do.
owned, do you mean?
Your liturgical service. I don't want to disturb that.
I'm sorry, we're not the Fundy Zealots here.
Of course not.
Well, we're not. We don't
What do you
declare what
call
the
them?
sky is. The pre-show is a demonstration and testimony to that. So you tried to make me concede there's a dome, which I would not do because I don't know. So that's hardly zealotry. When
No,
I go, I don't know what the sky is. You go, it's a vacuum. That's zealotry. I'm not doing anything religious by asking
No, no.
questions about
I
the
was
current
just trying to
rhetoric.
get. I was just trying to get from you what you thought the container was,
I
because
don't
it
know.
obviously can't be the sky, because the sky isn't a thing.
You don't know that. I asked
And
you-
how would you know?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know that.
Because the sky is just air.
Says who?
That's all. That's
You
all it
haven't got
is.
the
That's all
vaguest
it is.
idea what the sky is.
So when you
accuse,
look up and you see blue, what is there? Do you think that there's something painted blue up there?
I don't know. There could be.
Brenda, first you accuse the questions as being a creed, a religious creed, and then when Nathan says he doesn't know what it is, it's like he's not saying it's a religious creed. He's saying he doesn't know what it is, but you keep saying this is your creed. I mean, come on.
Well, I dropped that. That was a snarky remark. So
Fair
I'm
enough.
sorry.
Okay.
I apologize for
It's
that.
all right. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah.
Last but not, but by no means least, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth.
Sorry, can I
Absolutely
disappoint you? Nothing.
Only in
Well,
Hollywood.
That's too fantastic even for comic books.
Right. So I'm interested in this idea that the sky could be painted blue, or at night. Nathan, you said in the pre-show that at night there could be curtains. It could be a velvet substance or something like that.
Could be a million different things, all of which I have no way of verifying it. And while I can just make something up, like the black of the sky is a curtain being drawn, that's just bollocks I made up. And the same would apply to anything else anybody says about the sky. It's just a load of nonsense they've made up. They've not verified it. They're not confirmed it.
Yeah, it's
Also,
just a
Brent,
belief.
Also, Brenda, be careful about
Well, when
building
I look
straw
at
man
the
that you
sky
can
at
knock down.
night and I look
Deal
at
with
the
claim,
black
not
space.
the straw man you're building.
No, but when I look at the sky at night and I see the black space between the stars, I'm not looking at anything. I'm not looking at a thing. I'm not looking at a container. I'm not looking at anything.
How do you know?
If you want
How do you know?
answers,
You don't know what you're looking at.
Well, I don't see anything. There's nothing there.
Oh, right.
Have you been in?
When I look up, I see stars and blackness. I do see something. You must be blind, Brenda, if you can't see something.
No, I specifically said the blackness between the stars is not anything.
And how much time have you spent looking at that blackness?
Oh, a fair amount.
Give it me a minute.
When I was younger, I used to go out camping a lot. I'd look up at the stars. Yeah, I did that a lot.
And did you not find that as your eyes adjusted in very low levels of light, i.e. not street lamps everywhere, that the more your eyes adjusted, the more you saw in the black gaps? Did you not find that?
Yeah.
So when you say the black bits, they're nothing, that you can't see anything, and when I ask you if your eyes adjust, you can see something, do you appreciate that's a blatant contradiction?
No, because the fact, that I can't see something does, I'm talking about the places where I can't see stars.
Yeah, and then you let your eyes adjust, and then you can.
Right.
Yeah,
But
right.
there's always a place where I can't see a star.
And you've looked at all of it for prolonged periods, have you, Brenda?
Yeah. I have.
Oh, right. Apparently, Brenda has studied the entire area of the sky to see if every black bit doesn't have the effect that she's detailed, having observed it, of lights appearing where there were none before, given your eyes adjustment to the darkness. But okay, apparently Brenda knows the entire night sky and knows that doesn't happen in certain areas. I'll just have to accept that on face value then, Brenda.
Hello.
Yeah. So
Hey, Arwen.
so when
Hello.
I look at the sky at night or during the day, I'm not seeing a dome painted blue or curtains drawn over.
Okay.
That's
And you're not-
certainly true, right?
Yeah, and you're definitely not
Brenda,
seeing a vacuum
can I-
either. You're not seeing an ever-expanding universe either. You're not seeing rocks.
Could I
that-
see a vacuum?
You're not seeing rocks that you can stand on either. You're not seeing any of those things either.
Brenda, if you're in
Is
a
a
room,
vacuum something
if you
I
put
could
the light
see?
off, can you see the wall?
I'm sorry, what?
If you're in a room and you put the light off and it's dark, can you see the wall?
No.
Exactly.
If we can't see a vacuum, why is it blue 50% of the time?
The vacuum isn't blue.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. It's blue.
You're not looking at the vacuum.
Oh, am I
right?
not?
You're looking
I'm
at
looking. Hold
you're
on.
looking
I'm looking
at the
so
atmosphere.
let me get it straight. So where you say you can't see it, and I say I do see something that you've specifically said isn't something, the blue of the sky, yeah? That is and isn't something at the same time, correct?
No, the blueness that you see in the sky is not a thing.
How do you know?
It's just the scattering of light.
It is a thing, I can see it. The scattering of light comes from your heliocentric description with the sun being outside the atmosphere, though, isn't it? So, given that the sun in that description takes place in an area that can't possibly exist because it violates the law of nature, as described by you on the pre-show, then we know that that's not the reason the sky's blue.
Well, I'm not sure that. I think that on a flat Earth or a globe Earth, the sky would still be blue.
The sky is blue, that's self-evident. So the model makes no difference. I know you're all cognitively wired to assert that the model you use would somehow change the very reality we're in. The self-evident things don't change based on your model reification. That's self-evident. The sky will always be blue, as far as I am aware. However, a model's not going to change that colour. The description for why you assert that it's blue, that could definitely change. And given that we don't have a sky vacuum with a distant sun in a vacuum, I know that that explanation that's hinged around that model is incorrect.
No, the sky isn't actually blue. It's just the color that we see when we look in that direction because of the scattering of light. But the sky itself is just air, and air doesn't have a color.
Yeah, the Rayleigh scattering, again, we detailed this on the pre-show. It relies on the sun being outside of the atmosphere, and as it traverses the light, that is, traverses the atmosphere, some of the light is scattered and some of it doesn't. The light that's let through is the blue light. So that's an explanation on the heliocentric model with a distant sun in a vacuum outside of our atmosphere. The same atmosphere that would dissipate into the vacuum that the sun is claimed to be in. Therefore, that entire explanation, starting at the foundations of a distant sun in a vacuum, is bunk. You can't have gas pressure without a container. You can't have a sun claimed to be a gas in a vacuum. None of this stuff works. It's nonsense. So I know that explanation isn't real.
Well, no, Nathan. I say that I think it would still, the sky would still be blue on a flat or a globe Earth. I don't think it matters. And with a close sun,
I just said this, 25, 30 a minute ago. It doesn't matter what your reified model says. The sky is blue, that's self-evident, and the model that you assert makes sod all difference to what colour the sky is. It's always going to be blue. It always was, and your reified model does not change that. So saying, well, I think it would still be yeah, it would still be blue regardless of your fundy belief in models.
yeah, because Rayleigh scattering is a thing that would happen regardless.
I'll say this again. Rayleigh scattering requires your model to be true. It requires a distant sun outside of the atmosphere. I've just said that. You just whistling
I'm not
past
sure that's
it.
true.
Yes, it is. Look it up.
No, I'm not sure that that's true.
Yes, it is.
It might be true,
Well,
but I don't
no
know.
worries. We got to this stage before, and
you.
you obfuscated the question I asked you in the pre-show, so I'll ask it again. Given that I don't necessarily put this forward, but it's like the curtains, a possibility that we haven't completely ruled out. If there's a possibility that the sun is underneath the sky, how would it be possible that the light is travelling through the sky when the sky is after the sun? Now, unless you verify the position of the sun, as per the housekeeping question, any evidence of the distance to the sun, something else I don't know but is definitely declared when you give this explanation of Rayleigh scattering. So you've got a distant sun with that explanation attached. You don't know the distance, so you can't make that as an assertion. With a distant sun, with a light travelling through the atmosphere and then dispersing the light, leaving only the blue wavelength. Well, that needs a distant sun. If the sun's between us and the sky, that can't possibly be the explanation. Given we don't know the distance, you can't use that explanation. Sorry.
So you think the sun could be between us and the sky?
I don't know the distance to the sun. Do you?
Right, but it's possible that the sun could be between us and the
Anything's
sky.
possible.
Is that
There's
correct?
a million possibilities. There's a world of possibilities. Like I care about what's possible. I'm only interested in what's absolutely true, confirmed, validated, empirical. I'm not interested in what's possible, moving on to an assertion that that's what it is. The just so stories I'm tired of.
I just wanted... Yeah, I only wanted to clarify that, because you had said that the sun on your model is between
No, I didn't.
us and the sky.
What a fucking lying bitch. That's going to piss me off real smart. Yeah, I did not say the sun on my model once. I've not asserted that. That's bullshit.
But you said the
You
sun...
came on yesterday and called me a liar. I don't say the sun on my model. You liar.
You're going to have to make your
So you
straw
think-
man arguments a little less obviously so.
You're a liar. I don't say that. You're a liar. Brenda, you are a liar. That is not the verbiage I use. When you start your sentence saying when you, and we are having the conversation, meaning me, say on my model the sun, blah, 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 misrepresentation, lies and straw men, that makes you a flat-out liar, Brenda.
So you said the sun, the reason that this I was wrong.
Quick, make something
was
up.
Because
quick,
the sun
make something
was
up.
beneath the sky.
Is
the
this
sun
what I say?
beneath the sky then?
I said I don't know. Maybe you just ignored that part of my representation.
Right.
Right, so I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So it might be beneath
It
the
could
sky.
be unicorn farts. It could be frogs singing, creating that light. I haven't got the slightest idea.
Right, but you think it's a possibility.
Do you want to verify that? If you're going to claim that it is close, you better damn well verify it. If you want to claim that it's far away, you better damn well verify that. Me, I say I don't know. I ask very specifically daily, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Yeah, I know. But you said that the reason I can't say that the sky would be blue, whether a flat Earth or a globe Earth, was because you said the sun is beneath the sky.
No, I said we don't know the distance. Potentially it's definitely not your example that gives you Rayleigh scattering, because that requires a sun outside of the atmosphere in a vacuum and the gas would fill the space. So that explanation's immediately crapped all over, and it's the only positive assertion that's going to be made, because I'm not going to claim how far the sun is, while many others might. And you're not going to strawman me into saying I've claimed how far the sun is when I ask daily any evidence of the distance to the sun. Not I declare the sun is close.
Well said.
Right. So it couldn't be the case that that Rayleigh scattering is true, because that would require a distant sun, right?
Yeah, do you want to verify that then? Do you want to verify that distant sun before you start claiming Rayleigh scattering then? Go on, chop. Let's see you validate that distance to the sun, Brenda.
No, I don't know, because
Oh, right, so you don't know. So let's not continually circle jerk back to Rayleigh scattering, given that it's been 3 times debunked on this very recording.
I don't know that Rayleigh scattering requires a distant sun.
Yeah, it's got to traverse the atmosphere to disperse the light. The light travels
Well, if
through...
it's going through
Listen,
3,000
listen,
miles...
just because you don't understand your own model, I'll school you. It travels through, the light travels through the atmosphere, some of it being absorbed, some of it being let through, scattered as it transverses the sky. It's that simple. Necessitated by a distant sun outside of the atmosphere, so that as the light comes from outside of the atmosphere, it can be quote unquote scattered. Now, if the sun's underneath it, as is asserted not by me, but just by other people who absolutely understand, like I do, that it cannot be a sun in a vacuum outside of the atmosphere, because that would defy a law of nature, as conceded by you in the pre-show.
So Rayleigh scattering just requires scattering. It doesn't require a distant sun. So that's just not true.
Oh, so if the sun was underneath the atmosphere and the light reached us without ever having travelled through the sky that's actually above it, or the sun is just a manifestation of everybody's imagination, it wouldn't be travelling through the atmosphere then. The fact that we don't know what the hell the sun is means you can't draw the conclusion it is both A, outside of the atmosphere, and B, its light is traversing the atmosphere in order to be scattered. We don't know either of those two things. Simple.
Right, but one of those things
can
that
I
you mentioned is
interrupt for a
the
Yes,
sun
go
is-
ahead, Arwin.
sun
I'm
is-
done. I've made my explanation as clear as crystal, even though Brenda doesn't
Yeah,
understand her own
indeed.
explanation.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Rayleigh
And
scattering.
I
I'm
have
trying-
a follow-up question for that, Brenda. For
I'm
you,
trying to
and
strong-
that is
I'm
okay.
trying
If
to-
you no, Brenda, shut up, please. If you are going to claim Rayleigh's criteria, then right? So do
No,
you have
no,
any kind
no,
of
no.
I
Stop.
understand. I
It's
understand.
not Rayleigh
but
criterion.
I want
It's not Rayleigh criterion. Stop.
Visual
not.
demonstration.
Ugh,
that
Arwin,
reflects
please, for the love of God, can you
anything
stop
like the blue
talking?
sky.
Arwin, it's not the Rayleigh criterion. We're talking about Rayleigh scattering. Something
Oh, sorry.
totally...
Sorry about that. Yeah, old habit. Rayleigh scattering. Okay. Any direct physical experiment, presupposedly, or some kind of visual setup that would demonstrate this Rayleigh scattering in a
That's what I
visual
was
way
gonna ask.
and kind of present this blue sky. So, what is the direct lead to this supposedly even being a thing? Do you have anything to represent visual-wise for that, Brenda?
I'm not sure I understand what the question you're asking.
He's asking you to prove Rayleigh scattering.
Are you serious?
Rayleigh
Brenda?
scattering is just an observation of the behavior of light, right?
Yeah,
he's
so do
asking-
you have any actual demonstration of that other than walk outside and look at the sky?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that I don't know off the top of my head, but
Oh, right, of
definitely
course
in
you
the
would.
19th century, it's named after a physicist in the 19th century. You know, it's Rayleigh. That was his name or whatever.
Okay,
I
I'll
think
look
it's
it
his
up
name.
myself since you seem blind and incapable of doing such things. Really scattering, right? Formulas. Pictures of the sky. Okay.
You want to share
I've
what you're
been-
looking at, Arwin?
Optical fiber. Yeah, I'm just looking through Wikipedia. See if I follow. I'll present it if you want.
Sure, might as well, rather than just hearing your muttering as you read through it.
Right. Okay, here we go.
I've been playing a video. I don't know if you saw it while he's figuring that out.
I didn't see a video here. Discovered that bright light scattering of nanoscopic particles was faintly blue tinted. Okay.
Who's got the siren?
Yeah, that's me. There's something burning somewhere. I closed the door. Anyway. Right. So apparently John Tyndall discovered that bright light scattering of nanoscopic particulates was faintly blue tinted. He conjectured that similar scattering of sunlight gave the sky its blue hue. He could not explain the preference for blue light, nor could atmospheric dust explain the intensity of the sky's color. Interesting.
Good start.
Lovely, Justin. All right.
That's fascinating.
Right. So
it's
it
very
was something
honest. It's
that
basically
people,
saying, yeah, he speculated this conjecture without any
no, it's
actual
it's
follow-up
scientific
of that.
experiments that conducted.
Oh, excellent. What's the validation that's been given through systematic experimentation? Have you got a link to
Yeah,
that,
I don't
please?
know. I don't
What do
know.
you mean you don't know? You've just claimed it.
Yeah.
It's on screen. Oh wait, you probably can't.
Did you just
see
make that up then?
I don't. No,
I'll
I
take
didn't
your
make it up.
You just said it's backed by experiments.
Yeah.
Now you don't know. So you've just made that up.
No, I didn't.
How is it that when you say something is backed by experiments and then when asked to produce it, you say, I don't know that that's the case, you would say that's not making something up? That's exactly what it is. You've just made that up.
Right. Because we have a scientific culture.
Sorry,
Also,
having a
you did make
scientific
that up.
culture doesn't mean that you've got systematic experimentation to back your claim that this is in fact backed by experiments. You have in fact just made that up. And the reason you've made it up is because we've got a scientific culture. That's your justification for simply making it up. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a science.
Yeah, I know. We've got a scientific community. Yeah, we've got a scientific culture. Yeah, based on a scientific culture and community, you're just going to make up that you've got experimental validation for your bullshit claim that's based on supposition by this dude.
Yeah, that is the culture, is that claim
Of making shit up. Yeah, we know. That's what
presuppositional
we
math
are.
extrapolations. And that's
We are the
everything
front
that I'm
line.
reading here so far.
That's what we are.
I just
We're
got
the
one
front
question
line
for
of that.
Brenda real quick regarding that.
We're the front
Brenda.
line of bullshitters that just make shit up, Brenda. That's where the buck stops. We're the tip of the spear for people who make shit up.
it's not made up.
Yeah, it is. You just made up that it was backed by experimentation, and it isn't. And when challenged to produce said experimentation, you said, I don't know that there is any. So, as I say, you just made it up. And then to justify you just making it up, you said we've got a science culture. What we actually have is a pseudo-science culture, where people just make stuff up. And then when they say science, like you've just done, you typify this, you think that it gives credence to your claim. It doesn't have any experimental data. Experimentation is a hypothesis test to prove the cause of an effect. Now, in this case, we've got an effect of a blue sky, supposed to be caused by this Rayleigh scattering. Now, it's not backed by experimental data. There hasn't been a cause and effect relationship established through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis. You've declared it because you, like all of them, are a practitioner of pseudoscience. The science culture means make something up and say it's science. It isn't.
Nathan, I figured something
or
out.
like,
here.
or like
that's
Arwen
not-
likes
that's
to
not
call
the
her a
scientific
red
culture.
herring salesman.
Yep.
I like that.
That's not the scientific culture. Scientific culture is that the official bodies do not make pronouncements of facts without
Official bodies.
Right,
proper,
guys,
Science
proper
has a body.
experimentation.
Can I
Yeah.
please interject something that I figured out? I think.
Go ahead, Darwin.
I think that what this Rayleigh scattering, how the claim is tied in with the sky, is based on the same principles as the interpretation of what matter is supposed to be based on the color of the light, how the sun matter is supposedly determined. Remember that? I think this works in the same manner. It's fascinating.
Oh, so
It's
what you're saying is
basically
they've
claiming that the
reified...
different colors is caused by the sunlight hitting the different type of gases. It's an interesting scientism piece.
Well, I don't understand your objection there, Arwen. Could you explain it a little bit further for me, please?
Yeah, there's no actual physical confirmation that would basically show a setup similar to the confine of the Earth and demonstrate it effectively. There's no effective demonstration.
Of what?
Yeah, like the experiment that you just said that there was supposed to be.
Yeah, there's no
There
confirmation
isn't.
about this claim, and that's at the beginning of the piece. It literally said it. Like, it was again. Where was it?
So there's no scientific confirmation of Rayleigh scattering. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
The
that's what
history
he's saying,
here.
in
Discovered
essence.
bright light nanoparticles, faintly blue. He conjectured. There is no actual confirmation of this, but later down, after all the mathematical explanations, here, causes of the blue color of the sky. This is pure pseudoscience extrapolation.
Shout out to Theo Megawerty for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed.
Why is it pseudoscience? Why do you think?
Because
Rayleigh
there's no
scattering is
proof
pseudoscience?
to back up the claim.
How do you know that?
Because there's no
Because
experiments.
it's not here.
There's
Made it
no
obvious.
experiments?
Yeah,
you don't
you
know
said
that.
there was.
How do you know that?
Yeah, we'll come back to me now.
Because
Sorry.
because if there were, you would have provided it already, Brenda.
Yeah.
That's
We asked
why.
you. You said
That's
there
why we
was.
know
That
you're
doesn't
always full
follow.
of shit because you never provide any citations or support for your crap that you spew. Sorry.
Oh my God, there's even a Riley
It
model.
doesn't follow that because I don't know something, it doesn't exist.
Hold on. Paul.
So then why are you arguing things you don't know?
No, I do know.
But you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
This.
Brenda, get a life.
You just said you don't.
Oh, right. No, this is not going to disseminate into ad homs. Right. So Brenda claimed there was experimental backing for Rayleigh scattering. Then when asked to produce it, she said, I don't know if there is any. So that was where she just made stuff up. And now we're pointing out that there isn't any. Having done a cursory search, there may very well be. I can see Paul watching a video now that's describing blue sky.
Whoa.
So we may be proven wrong, Arwin. We shall see.
Whoa, look at this. This is... I
don't see anything.
clicked something. The Riley sky model.
You're not presenting.
Oh, I'm not presenting.
You're in Discord, Brenda.
No, I am.
Just don't worry about Brenda. She doesn't produce the show, Arwin. I do.
Right. So look at this. It's actually a principle, like the extrapolation is actually based on the the celestial position of the sun. It's not actually based on any model concerning itself with distances. So this may actually be based on something that's real.
Sorry, Brenda. In this single sentence, scroll down a little bit, please, Arwin. This single sentence summarises how I smashed your argument. Sorry, can you just scroll down, Arwin?
How much?
Other way. Up, I mean.
Scroll up, you mean?
There we go, stop. The polarisation pattern of the sky is dependent on the celestial position of the sun. That's my entire argument, Brenda.
Boom.
Amazing.
You want me to read it again, Brenda? We're going to get a concession? You seem to have gone quiet.
Huh? I wasn't conceding anything.
Oh, right. Well, let me do it again. I did it without having to search out citations. I like to have arguments where I don't need to sort out any references, where I can just go on what I say. I'm lazy like that. Just knowing how your model works. You didn't, and you said, I don't know that it's dependent on the position of the sun. I do, Brenda, because I'm better educated in your model than you are. And here it is in black and white. For the dumb bow named as Brenda, I'll read it again. It's my entire argument. The polarisation pattern of the sky is dependent on the celestial position of the sun. Full stop.
Right, but
yeah,
but it is followed up by something else.
Hold on, I'm getting my concession. Was that a yeah?
No.
Yeah. That's my argument, Brenda. You'd need to know the distance to the sun. It needs to be outside of the atmosphere. It's entirely dependent on its celestial position. That's my argument. That you said, no, I don't think it does need to be positional relation to the sun. Yeah, it is. It's there in black and white on your wiki.
Ooh,
well, number one, I didn't say that.
I almost thought
Yeah.
there was a mistake there, but it's double down confirmed here. The degree of polarization first increases with increasing distance from the sun. Okay, I thought, oh shit, but then it says and then decreases away from the sun. So that's actually again about the angular position of the sun, not an actual physical claimed distance from the Earth. It's fascinating.
So just leave it highlighted, Darwin. My argument, Brenda. You'd need the distance to the sun. That's why I immediately referenced that question in housekeeping. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? The degree of polarization first increases with increasing distance from the sun. So directly in relation to the... Shut her up. Of course, the conclusion's coming, so she's got to talk through me at this point. Yeah, we've got a housekeeping question, not rhetoric, not religion, a question, specifically in relation to the distance to the sun. Now, your Rayleigh scattering is absolutely dependent on that, my very argument. And you said you didn't know. Well, I did, Brenda. I know your model better than you do.
Can you hear me now?
I'm going to kick you out.
Well, you said you're going to
Rayleigh's sky model is based on the
muted.
assumption that the sun is a pure light phenomena that has an angular relation to the Earth.
So it's pretty much
So
dependent
my
on...
only claim
It's dependent
was-
on the distance to the sun. This is where we came before Arwin stepped in and actually double-checked that I wasn't just making it up like you, Brenda. That I did actually know how your model worked. That it's hinged around the very question about the distance to the sun. And there it is in black and white, Brenda. So, Brenda, now we've schooled you about what would be necessitated for Rayleigh scattering, and it is absolutely, as declared by me, dependent on you having a distant sun travelling through the atmosphere.
Right.
Will you now concede, having been schooled on your own bloody model by us, the flat earthers, who understand your model better than you do, Brenda, that you're wrong? And you can't just assert that you can tell us that it's Rayleigh scattering, because it would be absolutely dependent on your fundamentalist religious assertion of a sky vacuum with a distant sun in it, as I declared.
So yes, I want to steel man and repeat back to you what you just said, okay?
No, you just need to say, yes, I now understand. I didn't understand that my model and declaration for Rayleigh scattering was absolutely dependent on the sun being far away, as you told me it was. I was ignorant. Now you've educated us. Because I was ignorant, I being Brenda in this third person example. Brenda was ignorant. She didn't know how our model worked. She didn't appreciate that the sun needed to be far away. Now we've made it absolutely clear, even though I knew before the argument even started and Brenda was totally ignorant of it. Now she wants to repeat it back. No, Brenda, it's the end, Brenda. I already schooled you. The only reason there was a slight pause on that schooling was because you didn't understand how Rayleigh scattering actually worked.
Right. So Rayleigh scattering requires a...
Don't tell us how Rayleigh scattering works, you stupid bimbo. We know how it works. You didn't. We've now had to school you. How dare you now tell us how it works? We had to educate you on your model. Don't tell us how it works. We know you didn't.
Do we observe Rayleigh scattering?
Don't ask us any questions. Say, I understand. I'm sorry. My ignorance has led us down this path where we had to take you, Brenda, by the hand and educate you in your own model and what would be necessitated for your argument that it is definitely Rayleigh scattering that causes the blue sky. It isn't. It would be dependent on a housekeeping question getting answered, the distance to the sun specifically. So we need you to concede, not ask us questions. We're schooling you on your own model that you don't understand, Brenda. Sad, given that you come here to argue it, that we know it better than you do.
So Rayleigh scattering requires a distant sun.
We know, Brenda.
Scattering, therefore the sun is distant.
Yes, we know, Brenda. You don't know the distance
that.
to the sun. Let me have my moment, Arwin. Please, for the love of God.
You did it. You just deduced that the sun must be distant.
No, that's part of your fucking fundy belief, you stupid cow.
Do we observe Rayleigh scattering?
Don't ask me a question. The sun being distant isn't something that I've declared. It's part of your fundy belief in a sphere world, you stupid cow.
Can Rayleigh scattering...
Don't ask me a question. I have not claimed it's far away. It's part of your argument for Rayleigh scattering. We've schooled you on your own model. You didn't appreciate that the sun needed to be far away. Now you do. So your argument falls apart because you don't know the distance to the sun, Brenda.
Can Rayleigh scattering
Don't ask me anything.
Without a distance?
Say yes, Nathan. I understand my argument fell apart when asked for the distance to the sun.
If Rayleigh scattering cannot exist...
Don't declare anything. Say, I understand my argument fell apart because I don't know the distance to the sun.
So the Rayleigh scattering,
Stop telling us about Rayleigh scattering. We had to school you. We've just had to tell you how Rayleigh scattering works in your model.
The
If
distance
Rayleigh
from the
scattering
Earth
must
to the sun
Don't
is not
ask
involved
us.
in Rayleigh scattering.
Don't ask us anything about Rayleigh scattering, Brenda. We're tired of schooling you. We've just done it.
Rayleigh scattering.
Now it's time for the concession, where you say, I understand that my assertion about how the sky is blue because of Rayleigh scattering requires a distance on which I can't prove.
But I can prove Rayleigh scattering.
That's fascinating. Here, we're not debating Rayleigh scattering, we're debating the distance to the sun in this instance because it's part of your heliocentric sphere world.
I am debating the sun's distance, and you just helped me prove that it must be distant.
No, it doesn't.
No, she's affirming the
actual
consequent.
distance to the sun is not
What she's going to do is affirm the
involved in Rayleigh
consequent.
scattering.
If the sky is blue, then we have Rayleigh scattering, therefore blue sky. That's what she's about to do. She's about to affirm the consequent. It's pathetic.
Well, Rayleigh scattering, according to this, is basically an observation-based model of angular positions of the sun in relation to the Earth.
No,
and the
I wasn't
observer of it.
affirming the consequent, by the way. I wasn't affirming the consequent, by the way.
That you're about
the
to.
actual distance
if the
from
sky-
the Earth to the sun is
if the
not
sun-
involved at all. It's completely irrelevant to the concept.
If the sun is close, we will not observe Rayleigh scattering. We do
Oh, really?
observe
How are you
Rayleigh
going to test
scattering.
that?
Therefore, the sun must be far away.
How are you going to test that?
You just proved it. You read
No,
it
I
on
didn't.
Wikipedia
You're
right
claiming
there.
something
That's
based
her
on
version of
something that
proof.
can't be done. You don't know. Rayleigh scattering is derived based on observations of the celestial bodies and how they behave and how they change the color. That's it.
Yeah. And
The
you just
actual
proved that
an
that the
assumption
sun
of
must
a
be.
distance from the Earth to the sun as an object is not involved. Only the
You just
angular
proved that the sun
relations
must
of
be
the
far away.
operation.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, right. Bye-bye. Yeah, you're just interrupting him, saying the same thing over and over again. If the sky is far away, forming your logical fallacy. That's all you're doing. So I think I've had enough of Brenda.
I think she really didn't get it.
Only I can
It's
swear
very
here.
sad. But I am amazed by this, that there's actually, well, a study out there and a concept that is not assuming a distance to an object called the sun. It's basically the observation of the sun disk. And all the data that is presented within it is reflecting that. It's awesome.
Fascinating.
Indeed. So, anyway, enough about that.
Right, let's see what the story of some of these new participants in Discord is. So we've got B... Is it Ryan? Hold on, I'm going to get close to my screen. B. Ryan, hello. Hello, you've joined a live show Discord server, B. Ryan. How are you? Oh, alrighty then.
Seem to be a lot of voyeurs on Discord.
People come in to waste time. It's like you joining a live show. If you want to come into a live show, be prepared to talk. Hello, Darren. It's Flat. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. How's everybody today?
Very well indeed.
Well,
hello, Proficient
Can
Pyrus?
I just say, Brenda actually did make, I hate to say this, but she did actually make a very valid point. When she said you were looking into the space at night and you see two stars and there's nothing in between, if you now replace those two stars with her ears, I think you know where I'm going.
What?
Oh.
Well, she contradicted herself. So she said, you look into the empty void, you don't see anything, therefore there's nothing there. And then I asked her if your eyes adjust, do you see stuff there? And she said yes. And the only rebuttal to that was to say, I know every inch of the sky, there are portions that don't. Oh, really?
But the
I don't
fact
really
is,
think
she
she thinks about her
succeeded
responses.
in wasting 45 minutes of chat.
I don't think she even thinks about her responses. I think it's just she's like on automatic robot NPC mode when she's in here.
NPC indeed.
Got to stop claiming it's a waste of time. She is the verbalization of cognitive dissonance. She's on the very cusp of what basically people are wired with, and she's prepared to verbalize it. So as much as Brenda can get frustrating, and typically she's going to get ejected at some point because she'll either straw man, misrepresent me till my blood boils, lie about me, or in this instance start swearing. So there's always going to be some reason why she gets ejected, but I welcome back every single time because she's having the conversation. She's verbalizing her cognitive dissonance. The fact that we can't break her cognitive dissonance isn't the purpose of her being here. We're not trying to convert Brenda to reality. Her verbalizing her perception of reality is her purpose here, and I'm very grateful that she is. Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, thank you for making us all laugh.
Well, no, it frustrates me because you're dealing with cognitive dissonance, and you can hear that when I'm talking to her. You can tell the audience knows I'm getting frustrated. That's why I start swearing, but I can't leave. I'm stuck here, So Brenda, I can just kick out if she starts swearing, and I will, because the conversation wouldn't change, and we'd just go round and round in circles with her trying to formulate a logical fallacy at the end. I didn't have a pen and paper handy, otherwise I'd written down that logical fallacy and figured out what it was, but I didn't have it to hand, so there we go. But that's all she's going to do at the end of it when she's been smashed, battered, and has made no concession for her incorrect assertions based on her ignorance. Oh, I don't know that Rayleigh scattering would occur because of a distant sun. Well, I do. I do understand their model, and in this instance far better than Brenda. But there we go, so does Arwin, so does everyone else on the panel. We're all pretty well versed with the heliocentric model in most instances. Most of the people who challenge us, like Brenda, aren't actually that familiar with their own model.
No, it's just a case of just reifying what she believes is correct and not accepting anybody's response.
No, you didn't hear the pre-show. She was telling us how there's a dome.
No,
She was telling
I
you.
really wish I was on there.
Closet flat earther.
I'm not even kidding. Obviously, we're live at the moment, so the people watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, daily, this show goes out at 2 live. There's a live show at 2, Monday to Sunday. At 10, there's the Uncut and After show. Now, typically I don't do massive shout-outs for the Uncut and After show. Yes, I'll suggest people subscribe. There's a link in the info box. But if you're not already, and you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, today is definitely the day. If you're not subscribed to Nathan Oakley channel, as I say, link in the info box, go and subscribe and watch today's 10 PM Uncut and After show for this show. So you'll get this bit again, but you'll also get the bit that preceded it and the bit that comes just after. And you'll hear Brenda arguing with me, telling me how I must accept there's a dome. I'm not even joking.
I'm going to definitely have to give that a like.
Who was here? Paul, you were here, weren't you?
Yeah, I was here.
I was here.
I'm not misrepresenting what happened, am I? That's precisely... She was demanding I accepted a dome, and I was saying, I'm not going to make that assertion. And she's saying, you must. It's the logical conclusion.
Yeah.
Nah, she's just trying to get you...
She's trying to tie us down to a model so she can finally make claims about our model.
She wants to get you saying, oh, I believe in a dome, so that she could run around, Nathan believes in a dome, fathers believe in a dome. That's what it is.
Yeah, I saw her trying to build a straw man right off the bat. I was like, that's why, Brenda, be careful about building that straw man so you can knock it down.
Her whole goal
I have a quick
was to get
question about
Nathan to
open
describe
container.
what the container is. And Nathan was saying, look, all I know is the antecedent for gas pressure. I don't know what it is. And she just kept trying and trying.
Everyone in Discord had a question. Go ahead.
I just had a quick question about the open containers. What happens if the gas is still constantly being pumped into that open container? Do you still have a gas pressure? And it would still disperse over time, but if it's constantly being pumped in or produced at ground level, do you still have a gas pressure?
Yes. So if you imagine a bouncy castle, they've got an air compressor attached to the bouncy castle. Shout out to Leonardo Gonzalez. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work, Nathan. Oh, thank you very much, Leonardo. Well, they've constantly got an air compressor blowing in the bouncy castle, haven't they? Well, that's because it's just
Yeah.
essentially it's if you like, an open container. There's plenty of holes in it. The thing's sewn together, so there's plenty of holes for the pressure to escape. And if you don't keep continually running the air compressor, the thing will eventually deflate. Well, that's the same principle. It's the same. Somebody brought up an example with an aeroplane the other day. I think it was Spurs, and it's like a passenger showing a video of them next to their window, and it, noticeably visually decompressing. And he's like, well, this means that you don't need to be compressed at altitude. It's like, no, the thing's got a pump, right? It's constantly keeping it at a regulated pressure. It's constantly monitoring it. Now, will that knacker out the pump? Possibly. Does it mean that suddenly they're all going to suffocate? No. In the same way, the people on the bouncy castle aren't going to suddenly collapse so long as that compressor's running.
Indeed. Could that be what's happening on Earth then?
Well, what you're saying is we've got a constant leak to space. Well, that would require, if we're on a heliocentric presupposition, that you've got a container in the first instance that's a bit leaky.
Understood.
But we don't have that in the heliocentric world. It's just a sphere with gas attached to the outside of it. So there's no walls, there's no ceiling, there's no seams sewn up that are letting the air escape like in the bouncy castle example. There is no container. It's like a tyre without it's like a wheel without the tyre around it. That's what you've effectively got. Gas holding onto the rim of the tyre.
Magic.
Wheel.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I don't think I have a trouble with the concept of like the idea of the exchange of oxygen and carbon monoxide is maintaining the pressure. The only problem I have with that is like, have you seen those aquariums or those plants that are completely sealed off their self-sustained system where they put they have a fish in there. So I don't know if you'd have to, everything you guys are talking about is an external pushing something in, but you're describing something that's already in the system. So we need to think that through a little bit more, because I don't know.
We have that too, though.
Just the cycles are maintaining the pressure. That's a little bit iffy. So I think if you have to say there's something from the outside pushing in to maintain the system.
But no, there isn't. There's something on the inside in our system. We've got all the cycles. We detail them on reasonably frequently at the moment. But those cycles are pumping gas in.
But there's an exchange, like the oxygen, or the plants turn carbon dioxide into oxygen, and we turn the oxygen into carbon monoxide. There's an exchange occurring. That's not necessarily saying it's maintaining the pressure. That's my point. It's just there's an exchange occurring.
Yeah, it's a dynamic
even
system.
Even the cycle of water and all that stuff, there's still just an exchange within the system.
I agree, but ultimately, Paul, the entire system is pressurized. That cannot be argued with. Now, the fact that the balances of those gases are kept in check doesn't alter the fact that it is ultimately pressurized.
No, I'm actually addressing more of what somebody was saying about something being injected in. Now, I agree we're in a pressurized system, and it's a dynamic system. I agree with that. But somebody taking something from them outside to pressurize the system, like the air bouncy things. You're taking something from the outside, injecting it in to maintain the pressure, because the system is open. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say the system we live in is a closed system. It's not an open or closed container, not an open container. If it was open, you'd have to have something maintaining the pressure constantly, just like the air thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the compressor. Yeah, Earth doesn't need a compressor, an external compressor, to maintain the gas pressure.
If it is
wait, is that what the guy was asking?
Increase.
Could we have an open system because air is constantly being pumped into it? Is that what he was asking? I missed it.
Something like that, or in that manner.
Is that what you were getting at, Fundy Zealot?
What's that?
In a completely open system, even in our system, if it's completely open, eventually all gases would completely bleed off. There would be no gas whatsoever. Just like even in a punctured tire, eventually all that pressure is going to relieve itself out. You know, it's going to be find an equilibrium. So the system has to be closed. It can't be open.
And pressurized in the first place so that all the cycles work properly.
Yeah, but the tire doesn't have any sort of gas producing cycle. You have to pump the air in, and then that's it. It doesn't constantly produce air on its own.
Well, it's not a living thing.
Right?
Their argument dies when they say the vacuum of space is 10 to the minus 17 torr. That's when it dies, because in an open system, next to that kind of vacuum equation, its gases don't bond. It's going to go every which way. And as said on the show, instead of 760 torr at sea level, we'd have 10 to the minus 17 torr at sea level, because everything would go into everything, which is nothing. Doesn't make any sense.
Another quick shout out to Julio Pabon for smashing the super chat. Go past my glare on the screen. Trees produce oxygen. That's absolutely correct. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you for tuning in, smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!